how to eliminate your need for women's approval. My name is Jared Mello, author of Radical Self-Respect, Avoid Falling for the Same BS, ebook and audiobook narrated by yours truly, are available now. One of the things those books will help you do is eliminate your need for women's approval. And the reason I want to talk about this today is because so many dudes that I help and my clients, a lot of their issues stem from this need/desire for women's approval. And I know how it got there. It got there because we had been conditioned for years to put women on a pedestal, to have their love and affection be this holier than thou thing. But the problem is, for men, it doesn't get them anywhere. And if anything, the ones who do have this intense desire for women's approval are so much less likely to get it, at least from the women they want it from. Because I've seen men be able to act cool with women they weren't really into, but when they actually find women they really want, then all of a sudden their intense need for their approval takes over and it short circuits everything. And so I want to talk about today how you get rid of that. And so one of the best ways to get rid of that is I watched a lot of red pill content, and one of the things they say in there is that women love differently than men. And this was a really effective thing for me to hear because it helped me to understand what I was expecting and hoping from women. Because before I continue, I absolutely had an intense desire/need for approval from women. So how it would look in my life was, if a woman was happy with me, everything was all good in my life, and I was flying on cloud 9. But conversely, if they were unhappy with me, almost any woman this was, then I'd be miserable and upset, and I couldn't see myself in any positive fashion. And that's the issue, right? If we're going to give women that kind of power over us, then it's a problem either way. If we let their good feelings make us high, we are also susceptible to making their disapproval make us low. That's why you got to cancel out the whole thing, right? You got to realize that a man has to be on his purpose and mission. He has to do what's best for him, have hobbies, have friends, have goals, and have those things excite us more than a woman ever could. Women are supposed to be the complement of our lives, not the focus. These red pill truths, they're absolutely helpful. And the thing about women not loving us the way we think they should, it's like women just love differently. They have different evolutionary, biological drives. Like they want strong mates and protectors and providers and people that are going to help them raise offspring into the next generation. So they have different motivating factors behind them. And it's not in their DNA to be the romantics that men are. A lot of men don't realize that. But understanding this really helped me to curb my desire for women's approval, understanding that they weren't going to be able to love me in the same way I thought they should, right? And it's not to say they can't love. I'm not saying that at all. It's just different than what most men expect, especially the men that really crave women's approval. And you see this everywhere. You see it online when a woman says something. You get a lot of guys jumping in there to tell them how much they agree with them. Or if they see somebody disagree with a woman, they jump in and try to help out. Oh no, how dare you disagree with her? The white knights, all of them, they got an intense desire for women's approval. And it's terrible. And so eliminating the source, like when we stop thinking about women being a certain way for us in our brains, a lot of problems begin to take care of themselves. So let me explain further. When we take women off the pedestal in our heads, when we stop thinking they're going to give us some magical feeling and make things all better, because don't get it twisted, the people that really need women's approval and have an intense desire for it, that's exactly what they're thinking. They're thinking that a woman's going to make it all better, they're going to give us some magical feelings, and that's it. Life will be completed then. But it's all a lie. No woman can do that for us. We can only do it for ourselves. And to add insult to injury, the more we desire woman's approval, the less likely they will be to give it. So it becomes this vicious cycle. Women, they don't want to be the focus regardless of what they say. They want to be a compliment. They want a guy that's good on his own, that's chasing his own goals, that's chasing his own dreams. That's what's attractive. But if the woman is that for the guy, that's a lot of responsibility for a woman. That's an intense amount of pressure that she doesn't want. It's overwhelming, it's smothering, and it's needy, and it's not attractive. Like, I can see it. I notice it when women do it to me. So it makes me realize, wow, when I was that way to women, it was outrageous. And no wonder they would reject me left and right back then. No wonder. So we gotta get it straight in our own heads first. We gotta look to our own lives. Have things that excite us. One of the ways to do this is, I always say, our interests are like signposts pointing us in the right direction. So it's like, make a list. Make a list of things you really enjoy doing that don't involve women. I'm not going to say that we're not going to still want to sleep with women, have fun with women, but we really got to put them in their proper place in our lives, especially if we've been unsuccessful with them. So think about your interests and then dive into them and get goals that really excite you, that if you were to achieve them would be amazing. That's what we have to do. As a man who's going to be a high value man, we got to have goals that if we were to achieve them, we'd be like, kick ass, hell yeah about that. We'd be like, hell yeah, we got our goals done. And then new goals need to replace them. But I think a lot of guys struggle with this, that they don't have those kinds of goals. They don't have anything going on in their lives that really motivate them and excite them. And it's tough, especially if we've lived a life not having that, where we're just going through the motions, going to our job, etc. A lot of this intense desire for women's approval stems from a lack in our own lives. It stems from something that we're not doing for ourselves, so we feel incomplete, and we're trying to look outside of ourselves for the solution, right? But here's the thing about that. Women come and go. People come and go. Our goals and our mission and things in our own life, they stay. So it's always better to tie ourselves to our goals and things that we have complete control over. We don't have control over other people. And so it's risky. It's risky to spend so much mental energy on that. And again, this is something that happens when guys, they're not feeling quite complete on their own. They aren't excited about things in their own lives. And so they start daydreaming about what a woman could do for them and how it could make things all better. If only this one woman would love me and give me approval and have good sex with her, all things would be better. And it's like, no. When we catch ourselves thinking like that, we gotta stop it. When we start thinking like that, we become prone to developing an unhealthy attachment very fast. And in my own experience, developing an unhealthy attachment is the fastest way to push away a woman. We have to develop an attachment to our goals. If anything, we have to develop autonomy and becoming independent. And we can't allow ourselves to develop this unhealthy attachment. And again, some of the symptoms of the unhealthy attachment are very similar to the symptoms of intense desire for women's approval, right? It's being totally okay with life when they're good with us, when they're giving us love and approval, and then not being able to look at ourselves positively when they don't. It's being nervous to tell the person no. It's being scared to have a boundary. It's having a fear of abandonment. It's walking on eggshells. These are all the symptoms of an unhealthy attachment, and we gotta recognize them. But when we're good on our own, those things are way less likely to happen. When we have things in our own lives that are really motivating us, those things are way less likely to happen. And so we gotta recognize when those things are popping up, because the work for this, it's done when we're single. It's not when the woman comes along that we're really into, and then all of a sudden, we mess it up. It's like our mindsets when we're single and dating no one. That determines how things will go. That determines the quality of our relationships, how good we are when we have nobody. But if we're lacking and we're incomplete and we don't have goals that excite us, when that woman comes around, we're very susceptible to developing an unhealthy attachment. and becoming addicted to that person's approval. And that's the other thing. This really ultimately comes down to, it's an addiction. Looking for women's approval and love is like an addiction. And when we lose our drug, it's like we can go through withdrawal. That's what a breakup really is a lot of times, is when a guy has been broken up with, often it's because he developed an unhealthy attachment, got addicted to his partner and how she made him feel, and then she pulled the plug because no woman wants that responsibility, and then he went through drug withdrawal, woman withdrawal. The shortcut to this, to eliminate this, we can't allow the person to become a drug. And we are likely to have the person become a drug when we're not completed on our own, when we're not having things in our own lives that excite us. Now again, people are going to be human, right? No one's officially 100% complete, but they're certainly more complete than others. And there's certainly people that have goals that excite them, and then there's people who don't. And so the work for this has to be done while single. So remember, explore your interests, invest your money, have things you're looking forward to that have nothing to do with women. In the book, How to Be the Jerk Women Love, F.J. Shark said, get excited about other things. That is one of the most attractive things to women. But again, we shouldn't be doing this for women. We should be doing it for ourselves. And it takes a while to develop this. It took me years listening to Red Pill content, understanding women do not love in the same way men do, and understanding the dynamics of what's really going on. It took a long time, but slowly but surely, it stopped happening. Slowly but surely, I was able to practice radical self-respect and have boundaries, and put my needs first, and put what was best for me first. Because, why? Because, like I said before, people come and go. Our goals and the things in our lives, they stay. So those are the things that we should really be striving for. And a woman should be a complement to our lives, not the focus. These are all things that after I bombarded them into my head over months to years, finally they began to kick in. And I actually got excited about things in my own life. It's part of the reason I have this YouTube channel, part of the reason why I wrote that book, part of the reason why I want to continue my interview series and do whatever I can do in my own life. That's why, because those things excite me. The goals that I have with this, if I were to achieve them, I'd be super excited about it. And they're goals that I find worthy, and I find that they will help other people too. And so as a guy out there, you gotta have your own version of that, of things that you're really going for. And it's not easy, and there'll be certainly hiccups in the road, but you gotta keep going. So that's my video for today. Please comment below on what you think about this video. If you have some similar experiences like I have, I'd love to hear them, and so would the rest of the audience too. So with that, thank you for watching, and have a good one.